In today's episode, we're going over 5 steps to earning the respect of your community and building the career of your dreams. Today's episode is actually very special because it's a big part of my fitness pain free mini course. So, the fitness pain free mini course is essential learning, and it's my introductory course to how to work with injuries in the strength and fitness world, get these folks back in the gym, and also how to build the career of your dreams and love your job every single day of your life. The course is broken down into 4 lessons. The lessons are how traditional schooling has failed us. Unfortunately, all the time spent in PT school didn't actually make me the expert I wanted to be. Unfortunately, right? It took a little more than that. Lesson number 2 is 7 reasons why athletes get hurt in the gym. I think it's mega important that we understand the injury mechanisms in order to get folks out of pain and back to training, and also how to keep them pain free for the long haul. Lesson number 3 is going to be 4 simple steps for getting your athletes out of pain and optimizing performance for long term health, right? Let's make rehabilitation simple so we can get folks out of pain and back to training. Lesson number 4 is how to build the career of your dreams and earn the respect of your community. And that's what we're going over today. Okay. And the last one is going to be lesson 5, the fitness pain free certification. So, if you haven't heard of the Fitness Pain Free Certification, it is absolutely the most comprehensive program I sold, right? I've been doing this for 20 years. I have made so many mistakes along the way. I'm going to accelerate your career from where you are now to where I am 20 years, right, in the making, quickly and efficiently. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to become an expert working with the strength and fitness population and how to build the career of your dreams. So, here's the important thing about the certification: it opens twice a year, it's launched twice a year for a 1 week period, usually in the spring and then again in the fall. Well, good news. The enrollment period is opening again. So, the pre sale launch is going to be April 25th, 2022, and it's going to end May 1st, 2022. And it opens again in 6 months. And if you want to learn A to Z exactly how to work with folks in the strength and fitness world, this is the next step. Okay. I'll also teach you how to love your job on a daily basis. I love my every single day. It's amazing. I get to work exactly with the people that I like. On Sunday evening, I'm not having the Sunday scaries because I'm freaked out about going to work on Monday. I'm actually really excited. I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that as well. All right. So without further ado, let's get started on today's episode. But definitely check out the Fitness Pain Free mini course as well as the certification. I'll put the link in the show notes. So here's the cold, hard truth, and it's actually quite sad. So, as a physical therapy student, I work with a ton all the time. They're great. You're motivated, passionate, and hungry to grow and learn. And then you get your first job. And sometimes it's tough to find your first job. If you're into strength and fitness and wellness, you probably want to go into orthopedics. But some folks aren't even able to get into orthopedics. Maybe you're at a sniff or home health for your first job, which is not always optimal, right? If you do find a job in orthopedics, you're probably not working with the population that you want to, right? Most of the folks you end up working with are non-athletes. They're not into fitness. They're not into wellness whatsoever. You actually spend the bulk of your day trying to get these folks to exercise in any way possible. And generally speaking, they don't. It's really, really tough to get them to move in general. And that becomes extremely exhausting and irritating as a physical therapist. The generic physical therapy facility, outpatient facility, usually has dumbbells up to, let's say, 10 pounds. If you have kettlebells, you're hardcore. If you have a 15-pound weight, that's also pretty hardcore. Right? Meanwhile, most of the folks you want to work with are working with hundreds and hundreds of pounds every single day, right? There's probably a Pilates machine that nobody ever uses. On top of that, there's an arm bike, which most of your upper extremity, shoulder, and elbow patients go on for 10 minutes, regardless of what's going on, just to warm them up, right? And lastly, you got a BAPS board, right? I don't know why this happened, but pretty much every outpatient physical therapy facility in the United States has one of these. Still don't know why. And here's what stinks. If you actually do get a fit person that wants to get back to higher level work in the gym, typically you scare them away. Why is that? It's because about 80% of the people in the facility are geriatric, right? Nothing wrong with older folks. I actually really enjoy working with older folks. But if that's not what you signed up for as a physical therapist, it can be a little sad. And it also is going to repel some of the people that you want to work with, right? And also, I mentioned this before, working in this type of population is emotionally draining. It's not what you signed up for, really. And clients don't seem to value you or any of the exercise ideas that you give them, partially because they don't understand exercise. Exercise is one of these strange things that only weirdos do that they didn't grow up doing, so they don't understand it. Because of that, they don't value you or what you're telling them to do to get out of pain, right? So this can oftentimes, unfortunately, lead to burnout, apathy, and people tend to end up just hating their lives, which is obviously not what we're out for. So what's the solution in this instance? Well, first and foremost, you have to kind of find your passion, right? And most folks kind of know what they want to do, at least have an inkling. And you want to be able to work with that population you really want to, okay? And for me, that was strength and fitness. And if you're watching the Fitness Pain-Free Mini Course, I imagine that's the same for you as well, right? So we have to find that population. Step 2 is going to be earning their trust, right? Because not only do we need to know how to work with these folks, we have to be able to gain their trust, right? So they trust us, value us, and we can work and have a good relationship. And lastly, you have to build that career you've always wanted. So I have 5 steps in order to do this. And this is the same exact thing I've done for myself to build the career of my dreams, okay? So number 1, niche down. Number 2, you have to walk the talk. Number 3, you have to actually be an expert. Number 4, serve your community. And lastly, number 5, build your empire. So what is niching down, right? There's a really common saying in digital marketing, actually, that the riches are in the niches. But if you really want to serve a particular population or be an expert in a population, if you're trying to learn a million things about a million different populations and trying to serve every person, every pathology, you're not going to be very good at one particular thing. So if you're able to niche down and find a specific population to work with, you're going to have much more success, okay? So really, it can be anything you want it to be. For me, it's all about fitness, strength and fitness, right? But the more specific, the better. So if you are that go-to powerlifter, physical therapist, then great. That's going to be a phenomenal thing, right? Maybe it's not powerlifting for you. Maybe that's CrossFit. Maybe it's strongman, right? I served a lot of strongman people earlier in my career. That might be bodybuilding for you. Maybe you love running. Maybe that's triathlon, right? But first and foremost, you have to decide the population that you want to serve first and start cutting away at some of the other populations, right? Doesn't mean you have to stop serving everyone else, but it means you probably need to zoom in on a particular population, okay? And like I said earlier, that's going to allow you to best serve the population you want to work with. Number 2, you have to walk the talk, right? And really, there's nothing worse than a physician who smokes, right? Who wants to walk into a doctor's office, right? And the physician is telling you need to lose weight, your blood pressure is too high. But meanwhile, a physician looks like they could probably lose a few pounds as well, right? This is not a good way to form a relationship, right, with your patients. If you don't walk that specific talk, the patient's going to see right through it. They're going to understand that you don't really fully understand them. And that's going to be a bit of a red flag and repel you away from the population you want, all right? So you have to walk the talk. And what does that mean? So you're going to need to join your community, all right? So it really depends what community you're trying to join. So for me, I really wanted to work in CrossFit initially, so I joined a CrossFit gym. And I'll tell you what, I actually visited a lot of CrossFit gyms, and I networked with all of the local coaches in the area. So not only did I join a gym and become a part of that community, I very regularly visited other gyms and said hello to the coaches and the members and got to know everyone in my community, right? And that's extremely powerful. The next piece that's really helpful is to compete, right? And again, it depends on what you're actually trying to break into. If you're a powerlifter, then I would recommend going to powerlifting meets, meet other powerlifters, right? Establish yourself in that community. For me, like I said early on in my career, this was CrossFit. So I competed like a maniac, right? I was really, really into the competitive aspect of CrossFit. And I didn't do it because I wanted to build my career, but it inadvertently happened, right? Just because you meet so many people, you establish yourself as that go-to person, right? You work really, really hard. You understand all the nuances, right, that your competitors are going through, right? All the folks are coming through the door that say, hey, this hurts, that hurts. Like, oh yeah, I can understand why mine hurts as well because I did that same workout the other day. I'm dying, right? Let's help you out. If you like running, then maybe you sign up for local races, right? And then you start learning more about the sport itself and meeting other people that can help you out in your career, right? The other thing that helped me out tremendously, so much so that it was extremely hard for me to let go of this over the course of time, was actually coaching, right? So for years, I was a CrossFit coach, right? And I've been a personal trainer for about the last 20 or so years, right? But this gave me tremendous insight into the way you rehabilitate an individual, but also gave me so much trust and rapport within my community. It was actually kind of funny. As a CrossFit coach and a physical therapist, I would coach a couple days per week, right? And after class, I would get inundated by people asking me about pain problems, right? So what a phenomenal way to network and try to get people back into your facility so you can work with them on a regular basis, right? So good. So it doesn't have to be CrossFit, but maybe you end up being a personal trainer at a local gym, right? So you're practicing your ability to work with the type of folks that you want to work with. And the other piece that's really helpful is to write programming. One thing that we don't get much of as a physical therapist, right, is how to write a good program for a fitness or strength individual, right? Of course, I teach a lot about this, and we'll go more in depth in the future about how to do this, but learning how to do this is going to increase your authority and make you better at what you do, okay? Lastly, it's important to find a facility that allows you to grow, okay? And I say a facility that allows you to grow just because the facility that you're at doesn't necessarily need to be the world's best facility, but you should at least have a boss or coworkers that are open to you trying to bring in additional equipment if needed, trying to bring in additional populations, and they kind of are open to you trying to bring in the equipment and people that you need to kind of build your passion, okay? For me, early in my career, I was at a general outpatient facility, and they were very open to me trying to bring in my own barbells, bumper plates, all the stuff I needed to work in my population. Eventually, I got to the point where I kind of outgrew that facility and moved to Massachusetts at Champion PT. What's kind of funny is that when I first started working at Champion, Mike Reinl came up to me, who's my boss now, and said, "Hey, Dan, what kind of rig would you like?" And this blew my mind because for me, at my last facility, I was trying so hard to get a pull-up bar and I couldn't get it. And then without being provoked, Mike asked me, "What kind of rig do you want?" Which is basically like, for me, my dream piece of equipment to have at a physical therapy facility. So you may find over the course of time, you may need to leave and align yourself with a facility that has equipment you need so you can work in the population that you want. The next step is to be an expert, okay? And this is simple, but it's very hard. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of learning, all right? So some of the stuff that you need to know is going to be how to treat common gym injuries, how to modify training when injured, understanding exercise technique, and actually how to coach the lifts or whatever type of fitness you want to try to get people back to. So maybe you're a running specialist. You have to understand things like cadence. You have to understand things like foot strike, how to manipulate these variables so you can help folks that have common orthopedic problems, okay? Also, it's important to understand the population. Like I said before, walking the talk is very important. So if you have a good understanding of your population, then you are actually becoming an expert, right? You know the current events, you know what's going on within your sport. It helps to build a lot of rapport, not because you're an expert and you can help people out because you understand the nuances, but also because the patient that comes in knows that you're on their side because you understand the community and you're a part of it. Step number 4 is to serve your community. Oftentimes, there's this idea of entitlement. So I'm a physical therapist. I just graduated. I should have all the patients fed to me that I want to work with. I'll tell you what, that is not how the world works. You have to give back in order to receive, all right? So what does that mean as a physical therapist? So for one, I think it's very important that you understand the idea of volunteering, okay? So that may mean going to local competition and helping out folks that get hurt or just helping to set up. It's also a tremendous opportunity to network, right? Injured athletes come to you, you treat them for free, and they come back to your facility later, all right? Works out extremely well. Maybe you do injury screening seminars, right? So one of the things I did a lot early on in my career is I would go to different CrossFit gyms and I would screen people's mobility and give them some tips on how to improve their mobility for the common gym lifts, right? This was a great way for me to get more business, okay? You can also just generally help in your community. So in the CrossFit community, there are a lot of folks that like to help each other. So this may mean birthday parties. Someone has a birthday party, everyone goes, okay? If someone is moving, maybe you go to their home and help them move. All right. So if you're establishing yourself as a very helpful person, right, people are going to give back in your community. This is a great way to grow. The other thing that can be very helpful to serve the community is going and speaking. So this may mean going to gyms on weekends and speaking about basic rehabilitation or prevention of common gym injuries. Maybe that means you're going to gyms on the weekend and talking about joint specific rehab. Bet you can find a lot of folks in the CrossFit gym that their shoulder's a little cranky. They'd love to hear what you have to say to get out of pain and back to training a bit. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to come to you after the presentation and say, hey, this is bugging me. And you can tell them like, yeah, come back to my clinic. We'll be able to take a deep dive and help you out, right? What else might be helpful? One of the things I did a ton early on in my career, and I still continue to do, is treat coaches, right? So if you're working with a prominent coach, maybe a coach in a local gym, right? Owner of a local gym, have them come in, treat them for free, treat them like gold, do a great job. And I'll tell you what, they're going to refer 5, 6, 7 patients right back to you right away. Okay. It's a very powerful move right there. And lastly, I think the most important thing you can do on a regular basis is just to treat your patients like gold. And what I mean like that is you have to really, really care for them. And I love this saying is that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care about them. All right. So if you're going above and beyond with the population you want to work with, so that might mean taking some extra time, writing some programs for them after hours, maybe going to their facility, right? Treating them for free, whatever it is, then they're going to reciprocate over the course of time. And the folks who don't reciprocate, right? Don't worry about them. That's okay. You're going to go up to bat several times and you're going to strike out. And for the ones where you hit, you make some good contact, and every once in a while you hit a home run, right? So keep trying, keep working with folks, do a great job with them, and it comes back around. Lastly, you build your empire, okay? What do I mean by that? You start to network, all right? And you really need to build a trusted group of people around you, okay? So if you have an individual with an issue that you can't take care of, we want to be able to refer out to a place where that patient's going to have a good experience, right? And when you have a phenomenal network around you, the same goes on the other end. So the people that like you are going to refer back to you, and it forms this really cool circle of people that want to help each other out, right? A rising tide raises all ships, right? So if the people around you are doing really well and they like you, they're going to bring you up as well. So who is that? That's going to be local coaches you really trust. I work with so many coaches, personal trainers, CrossFit coaches, lots and lots of them, right? Great group of people to work with. I also have a lot of gyms I really like and trust. So if a patient comes in with a specific injury, right, and they say, I'm moving to this area, I need a new gym, I have a couple gyms right off the top of my head I think they're going to have a great experience at, right? I also think you need to network with surgeons, okay? So if you can get in with a local surgeon, that is great for business, right? And here's the other piece. You need to have really good surgeons to send your patients to when they need it, all right? And you should be able to protect your patients from the surgeons that maybe aren't quite as good or going to cut a little bit sooner than maybe they need to, all right? So it's important you have a few of those guys that you can refer to and trust. And if they trust you, they refer back on the back end, okay? The other population that was unexpected for me, but has been very, very helpful, has been working with students. So over the course of my career, I've worked with a lot of students from different universities, and I've had a lot of students become really close friends over the course of time, right? So some of the students I've worked with have kind of started businesses with me. I've traveled and spoke with them. They've helped me so much with my business. They've helped me tremendously, right? So I think that not only should you be treating the patients you work with a lot of respect and kindness, but same thing goes for the students, because they're going to be able to help you out as well over the course of time, right? And lastly, other healthcare providers, right? And this, I'm a physical therapist, but there are times when I am not the best person for someone's specific pathology. I send them out, right? I am not a specialist in the hand. So if I have something going on in the hand that I'm not comfortable with, I have a few PTs, OTs I really like that I refer out to, right? I'm also not going to be the best for psychological counseling. I'm not a psychotherapist, but I have individual patients that have those needs. So I have a good referral network to help me out, helping my patients out, okay? And it all comes around just like I said before. So building this empire is going to be phenomenal for you to build your career, to get people through the door, and then also to build value with your patients and also get the respect from your community. So here's what I want you to do next, guys. If you enjoyed this video so far, I have an entire course. It's free. It's called the Fitness Pain Free Mini Course. And we go over 3 lessons going to help you take a lot of this information that we went over so far and put it into practice. The first lecture is called Why We Need a Better System. So first and foremost, the way we treat fitness individuals, all right, athletic people in the gym from a physical therapy perspective is pretty much broke, okay? So we need a better system to serve the folks that are in the gym that get hurt. They want to get back to training. All right. Lecture number 2 is called 7 Reasons Why People Get Hurt in the Gym. And essentially, we have to know the reasons why people get hurt in the gym so we can keep them safe in the future, right? And when they get hurt, we have to know why and how to get them back to training in the gym. Okay. So a thorough understanding of this is very, very important. I actually have a really cool infographic that goes along with this lecture that you get for free as well. And lastly, we go over a case study of how to get someone out of pain and back to training. So these principles are all phenomenal, but we don't actually put it together and you don't understand how to create a program to get people back in the gym and keep them safe for the long term, then we lose, right? So I'll put a link in the show notes for this. It's a fitness pain free mini course. Definitely check this out.